I promise. We'll go from 1 through 5, and you have about 90 seconds. And then once your 90 seconds is up, we'll indicate that. I'll indicate that over here, and I'll raise my hand, and you know when to stop. Okay, so we'll start. Please let everyone know your name as well. So,
Hey, thank you. My name is Liz Mumford. I'm a resident of Bountiful, and I'm running for county commission because I love Davis County, and I've been serving and working and living here for most of my life. And I'm really grateful this evening to the Republican Party for hosting this event. It's a great opportunity for all of us. I'm also a delegate. We're here to learn about the candidates and this race, and it's really an important opportunity. The commissioner plays an important role in our county. We're basically selecting the CEO to work in a shared governance role. And I have a lot of experience working in that capacity. Right now I'm serving as the chair of the Board of Education in Davis School District, and that's been a great opportunity for me to build bridges and learn about some of the challenges that face our county. I'm raising my family here. I'm a mom of 4. I've got a master's degree in public education from BYU Business School, and I'm really committed to using my experience in Davis County managing governmental budgets, working with nonprofits, higher ed, all kinds of partnerships to solve some of the challenges that we face. And I know as we look forward and we work in that collaborative way that we can be able to address some of the problems that we have. And it's been amazing to talk with delegates and understand the things that are challenging for each of our families in this political and economic conditions. So I'm excited to learn more from you during the race, and that's what will create good representation, is when our elected representatives continue to talk to our elected, or to our citizens. Thank you.
Hi, is my mic on? You can hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Lene Pearson. I reside in Clearfield with my husband. We've raised our 9 children here, lived here in Davis County for 44 years. We've been business owners. We've been politically active the whole time. I have vetted candidates. I have never run for a political office before, but I don't think that's necessarily to my detriment. I have struggled. I'm a taxpayer like all of you, and I'm fed up with seeing our taxes go for things that shouldn't be gone for. I think we need to monitor all the departments, and yes, the commissioner is a very important position in Davis County, but I think it needs to be run more by the people. I am welcome to any comments, any suggestions for that matter. But I can currently work for Davis County, so I've seen that side, the employee side of Davis County. I worked in the jail for 3 years, and I'm now in the attorney's office. So I would love for you to vote for me. I feel like even though I don't have the experience, I learn quickly. And I've had to manage a budget and be a business owner and manage that for 32 years. I feel like I could do a great job. I learn quickly. Anyway, thank you.
I'm John Cross, and this is my first time running. I'm also depending on all the delegates to get elected because I'm not getting signatures. And I think that that's important. And I have to say that I've talked to many of you already, and I hope to talk to everybody if I can. My slogan on my sign is Voters First, and I really think that that's important. I have this website. I've been watching the county commission meetings for 11 months now. And we used to have the Davis County Clipper, now we have the Davis Journal, which I encourage everybody to subscribe to. We used to get a weekly report on what the commission meetings were doing, and we're not getting that anymore. So I took it upon myself to do a website and to do a reporting of each one of the meetings. I have a Master's of Business Administration. I've gone through the budgets. I've compared them from 10 years ago to today. I'm looking in depth at everything that we could do to improve the community. I think we're at a fork in the road. I think Davis County is one of the best places in the country to live. I raised 3 children here, and I want to make sure that Davis County remains a great place, and I want to really make sure that the voters are first. And that's the disconnect that I see with, these small town newspapers going out of business, the Clipper going out of business. Now we have the Davis Journal. I recommend everybody subscribe to that. They report on the commission meetings too, or go to my website. Just a 1 to 2 minute read a week, and you can know what's going on. Thanks. I'm John Cross.
I'm Len Harvey. I grew up in Sunset. I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to Weber State, and then I got a scholarship to BYU, where I graduated my MBA. After that, I spent 30 years basically in executive finance experience. By the time I hit 55, I was more or less burned out, and thought I'd go do something else, and so on a whim I decided to run for mayor of North Salt Lake. When I first got in, we had a landslide. If I hope I can get through this, but the city attorney had told the council not to talk to anybody in that landslide because there's going to be a lawsuit, and no sense talking to them. That really irritated me. So when I got in there, we started talking to him. Eventually we got Senator Hatch involved. We got Rob Bishop involved. And we found a solution for those people. We got a park for the city. But basically what it took was effort and creativity. And that's what I'll bring to the job, is effort and creativity to try and do the best I can for the city. It's not just a matter of lowering costs. It's a matter of running the city or the county more efficiently, and that's where my efforts will be. So sometimes you'll try to pick up nickels in front of a bulldozer, and that doesn't work. So I guess that's my fix.
My name is Mike Blacko. I live in Kaysville. I worked in Kaysville City for 34 years as their building official. I also worked on the fire departments. I was an EMT and then finally ended as a battalion chief when I retired. I've seen a lot of growth, and I've seen a lot of things happen in Davis County, and I always said this is a wonderful and great place to raise your family. This is an awesome place. We bring our kids here, we show them it's such a great place, an awesome place to live. We educate them, and then they grow up, they get good jobs, they want to show their family the same thing, and they can't even live here because they can't afford it. That frustrates me. I know I was working for a city on the working side, and then coming to the political side, and I thought there's something I could do. So I ran for city council, and I'm on my second term as city councilman here, and I've always been very fiscally minded. I've always had to live on a budget, and I feel like the government should live on a budget too. And as a county commissioner, one of the things I want to work on the most is making sure that your paycheck gives you the best and the most that it can. Because I feel like 4 years ago, my paycheck went further. I feel like groceries are more, housing is more, our paychecks have gone up. We need to work as a county to make sure that somehow we can help them. My name is Mike Blackman.
Good evening. My name is Brett Milburn, and I apologize for being just a few minutes late. It's a long drive from Draper City, where I serve as the assistant city manager, all the way. Still reside in Davis County. I've been in Davis County since 1976 when my parents moved here, and I currently reside in Centerville. You might recognize me as I previously served on the Davis County Commission, and that was a great honor to serve the citizens of this great county and community. What I bring to the table is experience, and I think it's important to note that just to give you an idea of what a county commissioner does and what a position is, it's not a figurehead type of position. It's really more of an executive type role, even though you do have legislative powers. Most of what you're doing on the day-to-day business side of things is basically running a large organization from an executive perspective. But the other thing that's unique is you're dealing with both appointed department heads and elected officials in other departments. So what you're really looking for is somebody that understands budgets as a whole, somebody that knows how to manage and lead, and also somebody that has foresight and looking towards the future and trying to move the county forward. Once again, my name is Brett Miller.
Thank you. We'll move on to the 45-second apiece for.
Here's the challenge. Homeless is an issue, but it comes in many forms, and not all forms require a year-round shelter. And the other thing that one has to take into consideration is what are the services needed for those that are in that homeless position. So it's going to be convening all the cities, all the service providers, and being creative in addressing exactly what types of outcomes that we're looking for. Just housing somebody on a cold night, although that's important, we've got to be looking at the long term and how to break that element of homelessness. So there's not one size fits all for every county, and I don't like when the legislature tries to tackle issues as a one size fits all, whether it's homelessness or the housing issue or many other things. So once again, it's going to be a matter of convening people together.
This is a tough one. First of all, it is definitely a state mandate. And, you know, first thing I'm going to say is push back. It's time to push back. First of all, I don't want to create a homeless problem in a city or an area in Davis County that doesn't have one. That's not the answer. The answer is if they want to keep that $30 million, they can keep that $30 million and maybe we can enhance it in Salt Lake, because that's where the homeless seem to be. They're not in Davis County. And I know we have to be open to it and that, but I don't want to all of a sudden say we're going to build a facility and then we're going to bring all of the homeless people into an area that doesn't have one. We don't have a homeless problem here yet. I don't want to create one. I think there has to be a way to fix this. We have to work together to fix that, but you can't just all of a sudden say, it will be here, you have to put it there, find it in place. That's not the way to do it.
I'm certainly not in favor of the homeless camps, and we should not have those in our county. For the most part, we don't. There are a few that are around. I have problems with the county running this. The county doesn't necessarily do things efficiently, so I'd like to have a charitable organization involved in it that would probably do a better job. I think there are homeless in our community. There might not be the poor, the people out on the trails or whatever, but there's the mother that has 3 kids, has cancer all of a sudden, can't afford her rent. I don't want to have to say, here's a bus ticket, go down to Salt Lake or out.
I'm glad for this question. If you can see my sign out there, that's one of the comments that I put on fairly early, and I'm glad that I'm making this an issue with everybody else that's running. The federal government likes to take authority from the states. The states like to sometimes take authority away from the communities, and the county commissioners are responsible for representing the 15 communities in Davis County. And I think that it's really important, before this bill ever got passed, I think that it would have been very helpful for the voters to be involved with this and for the voters to be engaged before this bill was ever passed. It was proposed by somebody in Salt Lake Valley, but nobody asked Davis County, it just got assigned to us, and I think that the county commissioner should push back on that. I think there's better options to handle homelessness, and I don't think it will help the community, and that's what I'm striving for, is cohesion. I think it's a national issue, and that's where it should be.
Well, first of all, I don't think government should be involved in the charity business. I have thought about this long and hard because I know they're proposing to put it in Kaysville. I don't know of a Kaysville resident that wants it there. I don't know any city person that wants it there. There is probably empty buildings in Freeport Center, and I live right by Freeport Center. While I would not be happy about that, why don't we explore that? But I think more importantly, We have charity organizations, nonprofit organizations that already deal with homelessness. If we have to put out that money, which is that really money we're gonna get, or have they cut funding? You know, that's something we should look at. Let's give it to the charities. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Liz Mumford. I'm running for County Commission, and I appreciate this question. I've talked with delegates just last night in a cottage meeting who have a homeless encampment outside of the community where they live, and they see it on a daily basis in Davis County. So I don't think we can ignore this situation. I think we need to look for upstream solutions that are based on the data that we have from the point in time count, where we identify where the situations are, where's the best access to existing resources, and it's the role of the commissioner to help solve that. Part of our party platform is taking responsibility and being self-reliant, and I believe that we can solve this problem in Davis County when we bring together nonprofit providers and others. The role of the commission and the group that's put together to work on this problem is looking at that data, and I'm supportive of doing that in a proactive way. It's a huge ask, and we need to approach this problem in an incremental way. We've got to take a really significant look at every budget on an annual basis as we go through that budget cycle. When we look at the revenue per $1,000 for each citizen in our county, we're actually one of the very lowest in the state. That means we're doing the best in the state in comparison to other counties. And as we come off this inflationary period and a time where we've had a big influx of federal grants, we need to be very conservative and make sure that we're still able to provide the level of services that our citizens expect, but do that in a cost-effective, budget-conscious way. And I'm committed to doing that as we look at each department budget.
Lene Pearson, my property taxes have gone up every year, and my house that paid $48,000 for 44 years ago is now worth, or valued, it's not worth that, it's valued over $300,000. That's ridiculous, but I'm paying taxes on that. We don't need more taxes, we need to spend what we have in a more efficient way. Like was said earlier, you guys aren't getting raises. I mean, maybe you're getting some, but are they keeping up with the cost of living? No, they're not. Mine certainly aren't. So let's not raise taxes anymore. Let's spend better what we have. I think there's a lot of fluff that can be cut in every department. Thank you.
I've already gone through the budgets and looked at them, and I've compared them with the budgets from 10 years ago, and looking at the budgets from 20 years ago. We had a lot of stimulus money that came in with COVID, and a lot of that money is going to be drying up. And I don't think that, when we have a lot of money, we spend a lot of money, sometimes maybe too loosely. And I think that I've already gone through and looked at it. What did they say? You should have one cook in the kitchen and 3 servers on the floor. And I think that in some departments we have three cooks in the kitchen and 1 server on the floor, and then we've got a lot of overtime. So I think there's some pretty basic, easy things to do to save money, and I think that that's where we need to go. I think that we don't have to do it dramatically, and we don't have to slash and burn, but I think that we need to be more careful with the budget, and the commissioners are responsible for adopting that. Thanks. I'm John Cross.
I've heard promises on this for as long as I can remember, and commissioners come in and nothing seems to change. As the mayor, it drove me nuts. I'd sit and talk to them about things that needed to be done, and after hearing similar promises from them, I realize it's hard, I realize it takes creativity, and it takes efficiency. That's what I'll do. I'll make sure that we're streamlined, that we get the things done, that we focus on the important things. We might have to spend more money on maybe prosecutors or some things, but we'll try and make the county as efficient as we can, and that'll help our tax policy.
As an elected official, I have always felt like the budget is your #1 highest priority. And as a taxpayer, I have always had to live in a budget. My whole life, my whole career, I had to live with a budget. And I always felt like government should live on a budget too. If I could not make my budget, I just couldn't go to my neighbors and say, hey, can you give me some more money? Well, I feel the same way about government. I think there are ways that we can look at the money that's being used in every individual department and say, when they have needs or they have wants, and say, okay, let's look what we were doing 5 years ago. Are there needs and wants that you don't need to use anymore? Let's just look and use this. Let's look at our departments and make sure what we're doing is efficient and smart, but we need to learn to live on a budget. We have to be able to say, government has a spending problem, we need this. Yes, sir.
Resounding answer.
Yes. Really loud though.
Great question, a lot of great answers here. I think it's important to note that, yes, we all live on a budget, the county lives on a budget too. The county passes a balanced budget every year, it doesn't go into deficit spending. But I also think it's important to note exactly how the budget works. Not every dollar can be spent in the general fund. I think it's important to note that how the different revenues come in and how they're by law able to be spent. You have certain self-taxes that can go a certain direction, property tax can be general fund. I think it's important to note that the county has not raised property taxes in a number of years. So not enough time to answer a very complex question.
Thank you. Next question here, and it's going to be you, Linnea, to answer this. To start with you. So radon is the second highest cause of deaths after tobacco-related deaths. Some areas in Davis County have very high radon levels. How will you address this risk as a commissioner?
Okay. I've suspected maybe to have my home checked for it. Haven't done it yet. I don't know that it's necessarily a commissioner's voice to get involved if homeowners want their houses, their homes checked. But possibly, if there was something to go through the health department, maybe there are some cuts we could make there, and maybe even give a discount or something for people to have radon checked in their homes. But might be the homeowner's responsibility, I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
The Utah Geological Survey has maps. You can put in your address and see if you're in a high radon area. You can also have your house tested. I think it's a public service issue for the general welfare of our citizens, and I'd encourage everybody just to Google Utah Geological Survey radon map. You can put your address right in the website. It will tell you if you're in a potential radon area. And the Geological Survey has done a really good job mapping that out. And I think that I read articles before, and I think the Davis County Clipper now, the journal, maybe that can be an article that they put in the journal, and everybody can subscribe to the journal and see how to do that. I think that that's falls within the county purview of the general welfare of the citizenry. So I think that's a great thing. I think if you live in a high radon area, you should definitely remediate that by having a fan and the radon gas. Thanks. John Cross.
Yeah, Leonard, I don't know if people know, but I think the county will already come and put testing equipment in your basement. I think it takes a day or two. I've had it done. I don't think the cost of the expense is very high to remediate it. Most of the time, I think it's just putting a fan in your basement to circulate the air. So I think this is one of those areas where there's already a solution out there, but what we have in a lot of things, just trying to get the resources to the people, and so it's more of an educational problem, and hopefully this will help, at least with the 100 people or so that we have here.
What's your name?
Len Harvey.
Thanks.
Mike Michael, being in the building industry as a building inspector, this has always been a question as to whether to do it or not. But to be honest with you, I've never seen statistics say that Davis County is radon high enough that would cause you to do the mitigation. And right now, we're at a time trying to create affordable housing to mandate everybody does radon into their house would be very costly. If it's something that somebody wants to do, put some plastic on the floor and put a vent going to the outside before you pour your concrete, you can take care of it, but that should be your option. That should be something the county should be doing for everybody. And I haven't seen the statistics saying that people in Davis County are dying of radon.
Once again, Brett Milburn. Radon seems to be an issue that's risen to people's attention, and rightfully so. As has been pointed out, I think really the role of the commissioner or commission is as they interact with the health department. And generally speaking, there's one member of the commission that serves on the health department board. The health department can be a great resource in putting out information regarding radon, its effects and impacts, and ways to mitigate that. But the county doesn't have nor should be spending resources in actually mitigating individual homeowners' properties. Once again, Brett.
Thank you. My name is Liz Mumford. This is a great question because I think our health department does play a role in health promotion in our county. They've got tools to do that. And they, as Mr. RV indicated, there is an opportunity for homeowners to get testing right now. The mitigation and remediation does rest with the homeowners. I've been involved in a health department steering committee the last few years, and I think this is a great opportunity where we can use technology to benefit our taxpayers and citizens. So right now, the health department is creating an app that's countywide that will integrate all the different services, whether that's mental health, public health, all kinds of different opportunities that are existing in our county through nonprofits and through government departments. So as a homeowner or a resident, you could quickly click on that app and find the source that you need to solve your problem and find community offerings. So that's a way we can use technology to, at a low cost, to really benefit our county.
So, Utah's now the third most expensive place to live. And I know that a lot of us have raised children here and we're just panicked about the whole thing. So 8 years ago, you could buy a mini mansion here in Davis County for a $2,000 a month mortgage. And now today you can rent a small little apartment for $2,000. It's not something that one county commissioner can solve. It's a bigger issue. Wall Street's entered the private housing market. That takes supply off the market. There's a lot of other issues that play into that too. So I think that's another issue that's going to be, we're concerned about it, the voters are concerned about it, I'm concerned about it. I have 3 kids, they want to get houses, they can't afford it. And I think that it's an alarming issue that the voters need to move back up, and I think the county commissioners can move that to the legislature, and the legislature can move that up from there. I don't think that we should abdicate our authority as county commissioners to ignore the whole thing and say, well, you can't afford to live here. I just don't buy that. I think that we all need to be involved with it. I'm John Cross.
I'm Lynn RV. I wish that we had the Federal Reserve that didn't push negative or zero interest rates for the last 12 years, 12 or 15 years. I wish that we maybe would have done a little better job in planning, in being able to get more affordable homes in a little bit sooner. But the demand and supply is what it is, and I don't know that the county commissioner is necessarily going to be able to change a lot of that. So I don't know that that's something that I could promise. I wish it were there, but I can tell you that there's something we can do. But if you try and lower home prices, then you'll really have a crisis, because then you'll have a bunch of people with underwater mortgages.
Mike Wapple. obviously the county doesn't have a lot of land that they can develop on, but they can work seamlessly with the cities to get to the legislature so that we can get the right legislator up there that will send a bill through there that will give incentives from the cities to require deed restrictions on new subdivisions, where the deed restrictions would be owner-occupied occupancy for at least 5 to 10 to 15 years. So anybody that bought that house has to live in it. So we can stop all of this out-of-state money coming here, investing in all these first-time homes that our kids don't have the opportunity to buy, and the flooding the market with these apartments and then not having an inventory of homes has absolutely killed the opportunity for our kids to buy homes here. So we need to get with the right person at the legislature, get a bill through there, and get it so we can start deed restricting properties in our county. So owner occupancy is so important.
Yay. Brett Milburn, once again, this is not, there's not an easy solution, and not a one-size-fits-all like the legislature likes to put out there. And as has been pointed out, the county has very little unincorporated area, and the county does not develop or allow development without being incorporated into the city. So the role of the county and the commissioner is to work collectively with their individual cities and helping them and providing support and advocacy at the legislature to allow cities to maintain their own planning and zoning capabilities. And once again, one size doesn't fit all when it comes to housing, so there needs to be a mix.
Liz Mumford. I think we all know what the problem is because we deal with it on a daily basis, and we've talked about our kids wanting to be able to return here and live in Davis County. And really, the commissioner can control what's within their control, and so pricing, interest rates that are impacted at a federal level aren't within our control. But I do think we want to be a regional influencer when it comes to what the supply is for available properties. And so the role of the commissioner, in my mind, is to support the cities. We should be advocating with the legislature and protecting the home rule so that cities can make decisions about zoning and ordinances that match up with their city's needs. And that's where my existing relationships with legislators and city councils and mayors really can come to play as a commissioner. My emphasis, if the opportunity comes to the commission through some of the legislation with grants, is to make sure to go to owner-occupied units, first-time home buyers, and kind of those starter homes where we can really have that piece of the market that's missing. That's what we should be incentivizing when those grants do come through from the legislature. And our commission can play a regional role. We have cities that have all different types of planning departments and capacities, and the commissioner can serve as a way to support that effective planning across the county.
Lene Pearson. Okay. So I don't think the high-density housing is helping by any stretch of the imagination. I talked to our city mayor, and he's very proud of that high-density housing that's going in. And he says, well, it's not low-income housing, which was a concern 20, 30 years ago. But we're not family-friendly. We need to do single-family dwellings. We're not being family-friendly when we're doing high-density housing. He said most of them are. He said they're 93% occupied and mostly by airmen, which is great. I'm glad we have Hill Air Force Base. But let's bring it back to the single family, and let's be supportive of our cities for building single family dwellings and not doing these high density housing that in 10 or 15 years are going to be slums.
Thank you. So, question here, this would be for my
Policy change is to get rid of the unincorporated areas in the county. And that won't be easy because you need to get the cities on board, and you need to probably go to the legislature to make that happen. We spend probably $5.5 million in dollars a year in public works. We have wall-to-wall cities for the most part. We have a sheriff's department that I think has 42 deputies still. In spite of the fact that we have police departments in every city throughout the county right now that can reach people much quicker. So it won't be easy, it'll take some creativity, but I think there's a lot of money to be saved and a lot of efficiencies to be picked up if we can get rid of those unincorporated areas and And anyway, I think that's one way if you're looking to save money and lower taxes, that's how you could do it. Len Harvey.
Mike Blackwell. You know, I'd like to see that as a county commissioner, I want to try to maintain the level of services that we have at the cost we are paying now. I don't want to see costs go up. I can't imagine they can go down. No, it never does. But I want to see the services remain the same as a county commissioner. The other thing is, I kid people when I say I want to keep Davis County secret, but in reality, we thrive if we can introduce business and put jobs into our community. That doesn't mean we want to enhance a company here that pays $15 an hour jobs, because $15 an hour job is only $30,000 a year. And when you're talking $20,000 a year, that doesn't work. We need industry in here that pays $25, $30, $35 an hour. That's the kind of building we need to do as a community in Davis County.
Once again, Brett Milburn. I've had a little experience with the county budget and making changes and whatnot. One example would be, let's look and see where we're expending our dollars and are we spending them appropriately. I remember when I was county commissioner, we had an outside entity that ran our convention center and visitors bureau. And over the course of time, decided that they weren't spending those dollars wisely, and we brought that back in-house and saved a lot of money. As has been pointed out, I think there's opportunities to look at staffing levels. When I was commissioner and we looked at budgets, oftentimes there were departments that held open positions for quite some time. If they haven't been filled, let's take them off the books.
Thank you, Liz Mumford. There's always opportunities to improve in a large organization, and looking at our county, one of the things where I think we can have the greatest opportunity to have a return on investment is when we strongly work with our local cities. And the cities and the commission are working regularly on infrastructure. That's a huge cost, and when we look at the budget, those flow-through monies and grants for infrastructure costs are one of the biggest line items. And so that's an important place that we need to make sure that we're really going through a good prioritization process and honoring that the work that the mayors and councils bring forward. I also think we need an update to the general plan. The one that's existing on the county website is outdated in response to the West Davis corridor expansion. And I think as we do that, we can look at new opportunities for economic growth.
Renee Pearson. I want to bring the county back to the citizens. I think for a lot of years, you haven't been heard. I would like to be out in the community, talking with businesses. We do need to bring more businesses in that provide income for people. Self-employed businesses, small businesses, those were things that were literally shut down during COVID that I think was such a travesty because a lot of people lost their livelihoods, people lost their jobs. We just need to have better spending practices as far as the budget goes. I think every department needs to be looked at to cut those budgets. Let's see. But yeah, and then anyway, Renee Pearson.
So, John Cross, one thing, this is my first time running for political office, and I've told my brilliant friends for years to run for office, and they finally said, why don't you be quiet, stop bothering us, you run for public office. One thing that I want to do is I want to bring transparency back to the commissioner's office. And I want the voters to be engaged. I've been talking to delegates, and there are so many brilliant people here. I've learned a lot of things just from you. And I think that if our county is working at its very best, we're getting help and answers from the voters, and we're moving that up to county government. And so if I'm elected, I want to engage each of you and make the county better and have it more transparent. I'm John Cross.
Thank you. So I'm going to spin off that same question. Okay, we're all here